Well, what inspires me the most is probably the same thing that scares me the most. And that's an interesting statement in itself, I think, having to think about it now. But what I'm inspired by is the idea of a young filmmaker who's doing movies on his cell phone or her cell phone, and it's speaking to what's happening now in the culture, in the zeitgeist around the world in terms of how information is deployed, and what will that look like in the context of a movie narrative. What will that person bring to the filmmaking narrative? Because the Z generation is the now, but it's also scary because I worry about things like attention span and what's happened to me in terms of the memification, which has been both positive and negative. Positive in that these memes have enabled people to give me another life in terms of, oh, that's an interesting expression, but it loses the context of how the character got to that point in the first place. Although maybe it will inspire people to look at the full 2-hour movie or the 90-minute movie to see how the character got to that place that became "you don't say," you know. So yeah. I think I'm both inspired and scared of that. Like, and it's interesting. I said to my manager, who's also a producer on this movie, Mike Nylon, I said, you know, it's always going to be a young filmmaker who is going to bring something and reinvent me. And I'm waiting for that person to show up. And he did show up with Pig. It's Michael Sarnowski. I call him Archangel Michael. That person showed up. But that person is interested in slow movies and taking your time. He loved a movie called Revanche. I think it was a French film. And you know, that's different. But I know I'm going to have an experience where I'm going to meet someone who's doing cuts like on his or her cell phone. And I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but I know it's going to happen.